actually had no idea they were the same person.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I don't even know who you're talking about. This is a cubic inch of sound. Over the past week, we all watched Blade Runner 2049. Some of us watched it better than others. My name is Luke. I'm your host, and I am cyberpunk in real life. That's my fun fact.
Sup, I'm Kevin, and I watched a speedrun of this movie. I don't remember what it's called. About 10 hours ago.
You watched it at 2x speed, and we're all very disappointed.
Objectively awful.
Hello, my name is Dan, and I was nominated to play testosterone in our 9th grade rendition of puberty in health class.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
My name is Will, and I probably got about 60 mosquito bites watching this movie.
Hi, my name's Tim, and I have a bottle of water on the table right now.
And I'm Nick, and I want a pet frog.
That's a pretty fun fact.
A real
Frog
frog?
or a synthetic frog?
I don't know. I really like the water bottle.
I don't know.
fact.
A
That
real
was a good
frog,
one.
I think.
Oh, okay.
I
Those
feel
are
like that
expensive.
fun fact is going to, it's going to expire at some point, because he's not always going to have a bottle of water in front of him.
Disclaimer.
That's
disclaimer.
true, but
Don't
I
sue
mean-
us.
Dan's
It's a fun
fun fact
fact.
was from 9th grade.
Well, it's still.
It will
it's
always
still
be true, though.
Yeah, Dan will always have been nominated to play testosterone in the 9th grade rendition of Puberty.
At the time, it was embarrassing, but now I'm just proud.
And
What are you proud of?
I was nominated to play testosterone.
What about it, alright?
I was literally
He had a pretty deep
embodiment
voice,
of
to be fair.
masculinity at the time.
speaking of which,
Dan doesn't age.
I personally think when it comes to Blade Runner 2049, I think the opening, the stylized text is pretty cool. And I think it also works well because this movie came out, 30 years after the original? And I think that's a pretty good way to introduce the universe without someone having to have seen the 30-year-old movie that came before it.
Does it come out in 30 years in the future?
Yeah, there is like...
It came out 2 years ago. 3 years ago? I don't know.
First impressions of the
2019,
movie
I
when
think.
it opened, like
That was
I
when
saw-
it took place. That's when the first one took place. This one came out 2016. I think.
No, it was
I want to say
2017.
2017.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
27. I have
3
it
years
up right here. Okay, but yeah, one of my first thoughts about this movie as we were watching, when we got introduced to Dave Bautista's character, I was like, because he was an older replicant, and I was just looking, it was like, wow, they really started huge. What?
Talk louder.
Oh, it's like, wow, they really started huge. They made this massive replicant dude, he's a hulking guy, and one of the first replicants, they really went all out, and that's something I
Big.
yeah.
I liked how before this movie came out, they did that advertising campaign with the 5 shorts. And I think they did 2 live-action shorts that were prequels to this. And the only one I saw was the one with Dave Bautista's character. And I thought he was going to be really important in this movie and throughout the entire thing. And then he wasn't.
I didn't see any of those. Did I miss something important?
Not really. It basically got summed up in the text thing that Nick mentioned.
Really, the only promotional material I saw was with Harrison Ford, and I waited so long for him to appear, and I was like,
He was in it for a good 15 minutes, maybe.
He said a couple lines.
It was
Yeah.
only 7.
Whoever designed his costume, that is perfect 2049 fashion. I love his costume.
Well, I'm thinking he's still probably wearing the 2019 fashion, And honestly, for 2019 clothes, it's pretty spot on.
dude, I don't think I'm ever gonna change my fashion.
You already cut your hair.
That's not fashion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I'd
part
consider
of
it fashion.
Okay, well, I guess my clothes. I feel like I'm always gonna wear jeans and a t-shirt.
I'm wearing gray shirts in 2020. Not right now, but in general, I have a lot of gray
Yeah,
shirts.
I have a couple of gray shirts. But I do have to say, I was very happy with the fact that in his limited time in the movie, Harrison Ford actually acted pretty well. I was worried.
Yeah.
I was worried in this movie that he would be like Bruce Willis is nowadays, where he just doesn't care anymore. But I think he did a really good job, and that was kind of a worry of mine going.
He beat up 5 dudes, no sweat.
Well, he had a lot of sweat. Did you see his shirt? It was soaked.
It seemed really hot too fast.
Maybe that's just because he fell in the ocean.
Nah.
This might be the last movie that Harrison Ford cared about. I honestly think he'd checked out right after this.
What about the dog one?
I don't think he
He
cared in the dog one.
He also kind of
He
checked
wasn't-
out
he
for
didn't
the
even
Force
have a
Awakens
dog.
a little bit.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then he cared again
Also, that was
for this one.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was before this one.
Honestly, it feels like longer ago.
I do feel like Harrison Ford is always in a state of being at least somewhat checked out. It's just
It's in a
Harrison
checked
Ford,
out- it's-
He's likable when he's checked out.
Yeah, it's checked
for the
out in a
most
way
part.
that serves his character. His
Yeah.
character is always checked out anyway.
Even in the first Blade
They
Runner,
have to write
I'm gonna
around
be
it.
honest, he was kind of like he was a bit wooden there, but like it's just I think it's his.
But yeah,
I don't think he was done with the movie. Like in a lot of movies, it seems like he just doesn't give a shit. Original Blade Runner, I feel like he gave a shit.
he
just
seems
wasn't-
more
Was he an
just
important
stoic
character
than
in
wooden.
original
I would
Blade
describe him
Runner?
more definitely as stoic
Yes.
than wooden in the
Yeah,
original.
he has
Blade
like
Runner.
a subtlety to his like expressions. I feel like in that like,
stoic because he's a replicant, perhaps.
Oh, big
Like
question.
half confirmed in this. They brought it up in a way that like pretty much confirmed it, but I feel like they didn't really say he was. They just
They're waiting for
sort of-
Blade Runner 2082.
this movie definitely
I-
makes a stronger argument for him being
Yeah.
a replicant.
Yeah.
Seems like most of the characters are replicants anyway, right? Like I'm just pointing it out that like all the ones that are focused on anyway.
You're not like. I mean, a lot of the side characters weren't, but
Makes
Well,
me
yeah.
but a
wonder
lot of
how
them
many-
were
How much of
too.
the population is replicants? I haven't seen the original. Like, how
Me
much of the
neither.
population is replicants, and how much is like actual humans? And can they actually?
Majority is
It-
human by a good
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
It's just that probably a lot of the more interesting stories
Yeah,
involve
who cares
replicants
about
at
like
this point.
normal people, bro?
And
We
also,
have normal
like,
people in real life.
I feel like people on Earth are in the minority.
Yeah.
Like they always make it seem like the colonies are kind of like where the majority of humanity.
Yeah,
is at.
it's like going to retire in Florida.
Yeah.
That's what the off-world is like.
Yeah.
It's where all the fun people go because they fucked up Earth.
So
yeah,
is this-
that's what Officer K was gonna do, or that's what Officer K was offered to do with his wooden horse. He could trade it for a ticket to off-world.
No, he wanted a real horse.
No, he offered him a real horse or papers for off-world.
Where's
real
he get a
horse.
real horse?
The real
Like, I've
horse.
always
No,
wondered-
he said it was from Wallace Industries. He would get him a real horse.
They
Yeah.
do horses.
I feel like he should have taken.
I
the
presume
horse.
because
They do
he said
everything.
that they would do it. I mean, they make robot girlfriends.
yeah, but like,
Why not
those are
Okay,
girlfriend
yeah.
horses.
No.
Speaking of Wallace, one of the neat things I noticed about both Blade Runner movies is like in the first one with Tyrell, when like they go to his place, it's like kind of decorated like a Roman palace. Like it's
Yeah.
got like the nice marble pillars and the way it's structured. And then in this movie, like it's more like an Egyptian pyramid type thing.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
the buildings have always been pyramid shaped, but like the inside's like that yellow.
It's like
stone.
sandstone, limestone type of thing.
So I thought that was
And
really,
the
like,
the lightings
yeah.
were like dramatic as all hell.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
definitely.
water
I mean-
made the walls look so cool, and Wallace's
Yeah.
little
I
island
remember
room.
that one scene. It was just like there was a bunch of windows and there was like orange light coming in through, and they were
Yeah.
walking through.
It was
Yeah,
so
I like that
orange.
one.
Honestly,
There's a lot of orange.
I thought Wallace was going to do more in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, not that Tyrell did a ton in the original Blade Runner, but it felt like with him dying, there was like something happened. You know?
Tyrell wasn't even the villain in the first one, though. He was just a
But
side
yeah.
character.
Yeah, that's
I think,
true.
I really do love this movie, but I think my biggest flaw is the fact that I think the villain was kind of weak. Because, like, you have Love, who's just kind of like a Terminator that cries every once in a while. And then you got Jared Leto just, like, saying some, like, philosophical shit in his pyramid. And, like, it's...
Was there really
Okay.
a villain though? He was just kind of like a bad dude, but he wasn't the bad dude.
The villain was
The
society.
villain was
Honestly, that's what it seemed like they were going for.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that
But
does make
also
sense
Jared
for a
Leto.
cyberpunk movie.
We can't say that Jared Leto isn't a bad guy, though.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy's insane.
I'm not the biggest Jared.
and he's blind.
Yeah, he is.
I
for
bet
some
he's a
reason.
replicant, because in the first one, all the replicants had shiny-looking eyes, and in this movie, he has weird-looking eyes. Therefore, he's a replicant.
He
Or is it
could be.
Witcher?
Honestly, I'd believe it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be super surprised if he was a replicant, especially
Yeah.
like the body mods that he has. You don't really see anyone with those, I guess.
That's gonna be the big twist in the next one in 30 years is that everyone was a replicant the whole time. there were no humans.
The replicants actually created humans, and then the humans wiped out the replicants, and then the humans were like, I miss the replicants, so they brought them back.
And then nobody could reproduce.
Except for Harrison Ford and Rachel.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford can always literally nothing can stop Harrison Ford from reproducing, even literally being a robot.
Harrison Ford is a sex icon. Once again.
Wow.
Always has been.
I totally forgot that we literally discussed this last time.
Yeah.
You guys got any more Harrison Ford stuff we could watch?
Next week we're doing Blade Runner and talking about his sex again.
I'm not allowed to do movies.
Well, we're
Not
doing
allowed to do
the
movies.
Blade Runner book that might exist.
Star Wars comic book with old Harrison Ford.
It is weird that Harrison Ford, like, he keeps being in, like, 80s sequel movies in which he has long lost kids. You know, I pointed this out at one point, but, like, it's just weird that has
Name
happened.
3.
Blade Runner 2049, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
All the
get
Wild,
fucked.
actually, the dog was his grandson.
His grandson.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
he had a dog
I
in
mean,
this,
if
and
he
it was
can have-
it was like a real dog.
If he can have kids with robots, who's to say he can't have kids with dogs?
No.
Do you think
So
he's a robot in that
anyway.
one too? I mean, he acts like a robot.
Yeah.
Does he? Did anyone see that movie?
No, but I'm sure he does.
His dog was digital.
Yeah,
His
I feel
dog
like-
was definitely a robot.
Is his dog a robot or more like a mirage? Because I feel like he's like
Mirage.
he's like a robotic mirage. Also, have you guys seen the behind the scenes clips of Harrison Ford acting with the guy in the motion capture suit?
For the dog.
Oh yeah, I have seen
for the
that.
dog.
What?
Because
Oh,
Harrison,
it's so
it's
bad.
so hilarious because Harrison Ford has to like act as if the dog is there, so he's like petting the guy in a skin tight suit. And the guy's just like acting like a dog, like leaning
what's
into his
the movie
hand.
called? I forget.
Call the
Call the
Wild.
Wild.
It is. It's scary. I feel like Harrison Ford is kind of fed up with Star Wars. I can't even imagine what they had to do, how much money they had to give him to
Maybe
do
he enjoyed
that.
it.
What
Maybe
is
he enjoyed
What
it.
is he going to do with the money though? Like, what is he?
Buy another plane.
Buy another dog.
He's just kind of having a good
Buy the guy who acted as the dog.
No, Harrison Ford hasn't been in a whole lot recently. Like he's been in like the movies we've mentioned outright.
I mean, he has.
Yeah, but
he's
how
getting old.
much do you think he got for Star Wars? Like,
a ton.
So
like
much.
actually a ton. Yeah.
Like he was in
Like, how much
Expendables
money
and
does
Ender's
Disney
Game.
have? I'm gonna say a quarter of that.
no, half of that at least.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this.
I wish I got to play the dog in Call of the Wild. I want Harrison Ford to pet me, call me a good boy.
Is that one of your fantasies right there?
All I've ever wanted.
I do enjoy that in this movie. This is semi-related. Harrison Ford introduces himself to Kay by asking if he has any cheese.
Oh yeah.
What was the significance of that?
He wants cheese.
Oh wait,
Masterful movie.
I had no idea that was a Treasure Island reference. I thought his dog just liked cheese because like my dog really likes cheese. So like the dog's in shock.
That's what I thought too at
And that's
first.
when we hear him
Yeah.
like, oh, his dog just likes cheese. And
And,
it's like, oh no, it's
and then he was saying that he has dreams of cheese.
yeah, that
And
threw
then
me off for a bit.
apparently Kay also has read that. I mean, that's like a coincidence, I guess.
Maybe it was
Well, I mean,
a fake
thank God
memory.
for
Maybe
that.
maybe it was Harrison Ford's daughter's memory.
Yeah.
Because she genetically enjoyed Treasure Island.
Yes.
And then it was implanted into Kay.
Speaking of crazy coincidences, what are the odds that the guy who was investigating the
Missing replicant child.
had the same memory as the actual replicant child?
I feel like she probably used some of her own memories for a lot of the replicants, you know?
And I feel like
No, wasn't
some
there like that
replicants
whole
probably
resistance
share
at the end? Like, oh, you thought you were the kid too?
Yeah.
Like, were they
Yeah.
all people who had the same memories?
I don't think they had the exact
Because
same
they
memory, but like
the only reason he thought he was really thought he was the kid was because he saw the date on the tree that matched his memory, and he's like, wait a second.
and then he found the horse
Yeah.
and the thing like he remembered.
Yeah.
Maybe there's just like a whole bunch of like horses all in the same spot. So every time someone comes across it, they pull one out and they're like, oh god, it's real.
I would assume no one else has really found that. It makes enough sense that memory could belong to like hundreds of people, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's fair.
In retrospect, the like end twist makes a lot more sense. Like they straight up say, "Oh yeah, you have fake memories, so just because a memory happened," and like
Yeah.
it makes sense that like now when I go back and rewatch, it, it's like you really can't assume you're the kid.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to not be him because of the way like that the girl very clearly said
Yeah,
like this
this-
is a real memory.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
memory was
yeah.
experienced.
No, I feel like
Yeah.
it should have been a twist near the end of the movie if it was like actually important, but they did it so early on that I'm just like something has to change for it to like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sense.
I was getting annoyed because I was like, are they really gonna do the? I actually wasn't expecting the twist. I was like getting annoyed because I thought they were just gonna go with the fact that he was the kid, and I was like,
the girl
I would have
died.
been fine with it either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just it did kind of come out of nowhere that it was specifically that girl, you know.
Yeah,
out of
That
all of
seemed
them,
odd. Yeah.
like
that-
okay,
I
I
would
guess.
not have guessed that.
I mean, it makes enough sense. It's
Like, all
just
the time.
like
Her scenes
I just
such
wasn't
plot,
used
yeah,
to it.
plot wise, just kind of comes out of nowhere.
So is she actually inside the bubble for like a medical reason, or just like to keep her under wraps or whatever?
I think
I'm not sure,
Probably both.
honestly.
I mean,
Yeah,
replicants reproducing could have caused genetic consequences.
yeah, I sort of interpreted it as they were probably just trying to keep her safe
Yeah, that's
by
what
doing
I
that.
thought of.
Yeah, it could just be either or both.
And it
you
would be
know.
pretty easy to convince a child that she has to stay there because of medical reasons.
Yeah.
though she
Yeah.
also grew up in that very dirty looking orphanage.
That is true.
Maybe that's why she is
Oh, yeah.
immunocompromised.
Yeah, that was the other thing I didn't get about her story. Like, she talked about her parents, like, you know, like, she, like, really loved them, but then they also left her in that orphanage for, like, at least enough years to get beat up by kids for having a wooden horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Harrison Ford never met her. I thought that was the implication.
Yeah,
I'm guessing he gave the horse to, like, Rachel or
Yeah.
one of the friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Dave Bautista's what was his relationship to the couple? Was he just like a friend? They were like all in like the same band of rogue replicants. Was that?
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
knew
like
about it.
like he was
Yeah.
basically just guarding, I guess, Rachel's
Vibing.
He was vibing with Rachel's bones.
Okay, but I gotta say, Harrison Ford's apartment thing with there was like the casino on the top of the skyscraper. That's a top-notch apocalypse hideout.
I mean, aside from
Las
Why is it
Vegas.
yellow?
It's way too orange.
Okay,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
very orange.
Where
but it
does
was
he
pretty
get
cool.
water?
Was the yellow
Well,
exposed?
he has alcohol.
The yellow.
Yeah,
was probably
that's
just-
true.
I can hide.
I think it was just a stylistic choice, probably.
It was probably had something to do with like some sort of nuclear winter.
Was
Or
that
just
explained at all?
general absurd
I-
amount.
I don't
They
think
they
so.
meant they mentioned
Yeah, they
that
mentioned
it
that there
was
was a
like
bomb dropped.
yeah,
Oh.
and that
what's
there
with
was a
the
ton of
bees?
radiation.
He kept bees.
He needed
What's
honey.
good? He stuck his hand in the bees and he didn't care. Like, what's up with that?
Like he didn't get stung.
They were all on his hand as he walked away.
Yeah, but he didn't get stung.
It's gross. Don't stick your hands in bees' nests.
He needed
But
to find
clearly,
out.
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean he's fine with it.
I wasn't.
Some days you just
Why
want
didn't
to
you
see
ask
if
me?
That's probably
something
because
is
it was so
bees.
fast, Kevin. You were so jarred. It was like boom. But for everyone else, it was very gentle and slow.
Yeah.
You've only experienced half the movie that we have.
I experienced.
He could have experienced almost double the movie if he just watched it twice in the same amount of time.
I would argue that would be the same amount of movie.
Well, I mean, he did technically watch the same amount of movie. It's just faster.
I'm
But
not
it's-
sure though. It might have skipped frames.
Yeah.
Well, that's true actually.
Good.
Kevin, did it skip frames?
That's how you speed up things, right? Unless I had like.
Well,
monitor.
movies are.
I mean, it
only
could
just
have
play it back at a
it
higher
could have
frame rate.
played it. Yeah.
I guess because the movies are filmed at like what 23 frames per second.
24, yeah.
24.
Yeah.
Double that. Yeah,
23.98.
I can watch it. It did not skip frames,
Okay.
Okay.
but it did skip pixels because it was very crushed. On the website I watched it on, and the audio was.
Yeah, that
Very low
definitely
quality.
takes away some of it because one of the best things about this movie is the visuals.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
this is an incredibly beautiful movie to look at.
It
is
conveys
nice.
a very
It's very
specific
nice.
atmosphere.
Yeah, I
made
love
me
all the
sad.
snow in the movie. It's so I don't know. I just really like snow.
The visuals were definitely a lot more varied than the original.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot. I do feel like part of the reason why the original was probably paced so slowly was just because it held on shots a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it did that because the special effects were really impressive at the time.
Mm-hmm.
For this one, it's kind of like, even though the visuals look nice, it never really was like impressive because I know it's like CGI and everything. So I feel like it didn't need to be as long as it was.
I don't know. I personally didn't. It didn't feel as long as it was to me, and it for me, it's not like the effects themselves were that incredible. It's just the art direction was really, really
Yeah,
good.
I liked the art direction. I just feel like I feel like you could take most shots in this movie and cut them by like 10%, and then the movie as a whole would be way shorter. You know.
I feel like a lot of the shots, like they knew it wasn't going to be like technically impressive like visual effects were in the 80s, you know, so they didn't like focus it as much as like the original, and I'm only guessing because I didn't see the first one, but it seems like with like the whole, they definitely had like a blue turquoise and a yellow orange color scheme going on. I feel like there was enough varying between those two like sets of colors where I was visually engaged, you know, between different parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally didn't have any gripes with how long the movie was. I guess I did.
neither.
Yeah, I
Shut up, Kevin.
But I just think that I think the pacing was handled very well considering how long it was. I think it very easily could have felt a lot longer than it did. It could have felt like 2 hours and 45 minutes, but I think it felt like a much shorter movie. Just
After
because-
watching it at 2 times speed, like I feel like I
'Cause there's a lot
want to go
going on.
back and watch it at like normal speed because I was watching it thinking I wasn't gonna be interested, and for like the beginning part of it, I really wasn't until like the whole memories dome, and I'm like, okay, hold up, this is actually kind of cool, and
And then-
full attention from then on.
Instead of turning it down to normal speed, you just watched it at 2 times speed anyway.
It would have been way more jarring.
I do have to, like, I did feel the length of this movie, I think. And I felt the length of the first one, too, honestly, and that was only 2 hours. I feel like that could have been an hour and a half. This one could have been, like, 2 hours and 15 minutes as opposed to 2:45.
I feel the length of the first one more than I feel this one.
I do think this one definitely feels faster. And one of the, I think the biggest differences between the two Blade Runner movies is I think the first Blade Runner was paying like much more homage to like a sort of like classic noir movie. Like you had the smoke-filled rooms, it was a lot slower pace. The score was like more saxophone heavy rather than chainsaw heavy, like 2049. And like I think 2049 kind of went more like the straight thriller route. Like it had a lot more sort of like you're more on the edge of your seat because of plot, I guess, rather than compared to the first one, which was just Harrison Ford slowly finding those 4 replicants.
Yeah, I guess
and
that's true.
this one was a lot more of a mystery. The original
Yeah.
was kind of just like straightforward,
Really?
like, okay, go kill these guys, and then Harrison Ford's like, all right.
So was it just like an action movie, just through and through?
Not exactly. It's not action because a lot of it is more just like slower.
I think film
Not
noir
even-
is the way to describe it.
Yeah, not even necessarily character moments, but more world building
Yeah.
moments.
Like I personally kind of prefer the first one because I really like the noir style, but I can see why like a lot of people prefer the more mystery aspect. of
I
thriller.
like this one way more. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm famous for saying Blade Runner, the original, you know, like visuals fucking great, special effects incredible, music really good, story it was alright.
I think
Honestly, just from the way that Dan's been explaining the movie, I don't think I would like the first one as
Probably.
much.
I think that the original Blade Runner would be something that I want to go back to after like looking into more film noir and watching more movies in that vein, because I don't have any experience with that type of movie. So I feel like there might have been references or like tropes or stuff like that I missed, and like would
Would it be better?
influence the movie.
Would it be better to go into a movie without knowing its tropes?
I don't know.
I think it depends on the movie, and it depends on what you're looking for. I think I've already seen it a couple times, so I think I want to go back and watch it again with more knowledge about the era and what they're going for. Whereas the first time, I don't think I would want to. I think I'd want to, because like you can only see a movie for the first time once, and I'd want to know it, like have the fresh experience. But the first
I disagree.
I think
And
you
what-
would.
I feel like you can enjoy a movie multiple times, and I feel like there's nothing really special about the first time you watch it.
Well, there definitely
Hey.
is, and I'm not saying you can't enjoy a movie more than once. I'm just saying that the first time you watch a movie, you're experiencing everything for the first time, so it's all new to you. Whereas like secondary viewings or subsequent viewings, you will know some things, and then it will be a somewhat different experience just inherently.
Yeah, I mean, I find that I tend to like repeat viewings more most of the time. I mean, I guess like that's kind of just because I only repeat view things that I like.
Yeah.
But regardless, I still like it more the second time. But I definitely think there's something special about the first time you watch a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on repeat viewings, you can like as you're watching the beginning of it, you have the perspective of knowing what's going to happen, and it like in a lot of movies that makes a ton of difference for how you for your perception of the movie, how you enjoy it.
Yeah, and on subsequent viewings, you can also like pay attention to different things. Like I don't know, like if you wanted to look at the cinematography or like take special care in looking at details you might not have noticed before, that can also enhance the viewing.
Yeah, I just know like a good example of this is with Avengers: Infinity War. The first time I watched it, that was like basically a magical experience. It was so cool to see everything happening and not knowing what was going to happen at the end, really. And then on subsequent viewings, it was obviously good, but it was a different experience. And then with like another movie, like I don't know, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, repeat viewings, you notice so many other details that you wouldn't notice the first time.
You know,
pioneer.
I loved watching Infinity War the first time because Kevin was sitting next to me.
Oh, God.
And he was in so much pain as Spider-Man disappeared. Like he was like moving his hands around, like
I remember
clutching
that.
the air.
Yeah, that was fun.
Like
It
he
was
was
an
trying to
emotional
grab
run.
onto Tom Holland himself, you know, stop him from turning to dust.
It's like those stories of all those little kids saying, "Did Spider-Man die?" Except it was a adult.
Luke didn't have as great an experience as I think I did during that movie. It's like Kevin, he put his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "It's just a movie." And I'm like, "Shut up! Peter Parker's dying, Luke. You don't understand."
They already announced the next movie by then.
We don't know. They could be lying.
We already knew there was gonna be more Spider-Man movies.
Prequel
And then
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
movies?
was actually ripped away from us by Sony.
Oh yeah, that happened.
That was a stressful.
Yeah, no, they came
period of
back.
time.
He came back though.
Yeah, but only for one movie.
Yeah, but they only had the movie contract anyway. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It
Well,
seems strange.
he's back.
For now.
Hopefully they renew that because
Yeah.
I don't want the next Spider-Man. Or they said one solo movie and one crossover, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I really would not want them to end it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man seems like he's going to be a driving force, basically, for the MCU at this point. Especially now that Captain America and Iron Man are no
Iron
longer
Man
part of it.
2, but not the movie. I mean
Honestly,
Spider-Man.
I'm just waiting for. I'm just waiting for the LMDs from Agents of Shield to show up in the MCU so we can have Blade Runner, but with like.
Oh,
Captain-
God.
They're never
Dan,
gonna
I'm sorry.
connect any of the shows.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is literally never going to be in the
The
MCU.
series finale's tonight, the very last
Oh, are you
episode.
serious?
Yeah, it's tonight.
I really need to watch season 6 and 7.
I'm probably gonna be watching it when I get home.
Speaking of which, one thing that I thought was kind of cool, this is a minor world building detail, but I really liked the holographic fingernails that Love had, they had like, when she was, I think she was firing the missiles at Kay and the
Yeah.
trash scavengers, and she was getting her fingernails done, and she had these like holographic dogs etched into her fingernails, and I was like, damn, that looks painful, but that looks really cool.
It'd be pretty epic.
It's hologram. Is that painful?
Well, I mean, it was etched in with what looked like a laser engraver.
Yeah.
So like the kind of thing like you have a book cover that you change it into like.
Yeah, it was like
different-
lenticular, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the product placement in both of them for people who watch both?
Okay,
Because that was
I
I
didn't
didn't
know about
notice
this
any.
actually. So I really like how all the companies that did their product placement in this movie just really embraced like the late stage capitalism of it all.
Yeah.
Like Coca-Cola was everywhere, Sony was everywhere. They're like, yeah, in this cyberpunk post-apocalyptic world, we're still gonna be a huge monopoly company.
I think that really fits with the cyberpunk aesthetic, just massive advertisements all over the place. The only one that I remember that bothered me was the Sony logo on the jukebox when he was at the bar with Harrison Ford. I don't know what it was. I think it's just like it focused in on it or something. It seemed unnatural as opposed to all the others, which seemed to make sense.
The
I literally
Sony
didn't notice
one.
any product placement at all.
You didn't.
You didn't notice the giant
Seriously?
Atari logo
Oh, yeah,
or the
what was with
No,
Atari?
I
Like,
did.
literally,
Yeah, I don't know. Atari comes
entire
back, I guess.
shot.
I didn't notice.
I think of those, like, Atari I liked a lot
Yeah, I did
because
too.
it makes it feel like an alternate universe
Yeah.
I
of
kept
sorts.
thinking of Tron.
You know?
Yeah.
It had that sort of aesthetic.
Yeah.
Sony bugged me. I like just knowing that Sony produced the movie, and I know that that's like it doesn't really change anything, but that just
Yeah,
made
I don't know.
it took me out of it.
I thought the giant like Sony ads on the sides of buildings were fine because I think it's pretty believable that Sony is an evil corporation in the future.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I don't know. The jukebox just threw me. I don't know what it was.
I don't know. Sony has like a foothold in like a lot of stuff, so
Yeah.
I can definitely see that happening.
The Coca-Cola ads though were the best. Those were the best.
I think it's tough to
Coke
beat
was
the Atari.
Coke was just very fitting, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
barely batted an eye. They had those in the original too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else was in the original. The only one I noticed was Coke.
I
but-
definitely noticed Sony much more than Coca-Cola. Like it popped out to me. Sony popped out to me more. I was like, oh, but then Coca-Cola is like blended in. I was like,
Man,
oh,
I can't
expecting
wait for
that.
the Joy ads in real life.
Yeah.
I'm so
3D.
excited for Jeff Bezos to announce the robot girlfriend version of Alexa.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, no, I think that was the weirdest part of the movie. There was the giant holographic lady, and it was just like,
Yeah.
hello.
I'm
And
on
he just kind of like
that-
stared.
See, that was weird to me just because I remember seeing that in the trailer, and I
Yeah.
kind of assumed that it was like in
Just
the
a
first
trailer?
act at some
Oh,
point.
okay.
I feel like that seems
Yeah.
like an establish the world kind of scene, but like no, that's at the very end.
That was actually
Does that
one
just
of my
happen?
favorite scenes.
Yeah, me
Does
too.
I
that
did-
happen
I did
to
like
everyone who walks by?
It's
What's
To
it's
anyone
like
who stops.
it's like if you're in Vegas or something. Sometimes like strippers will kind of come up to you and be like,
But
hey,
they're not
hey big
coded.
boy.
no, yeah, they nuked Vegas, so they
Is there
had to
like
do
a-
it in
Is
in
there like
LA
a motion
instead.
sensor and it's just like
I mean,
Probably.
hello
Yeah.
lonely
It's
person?
It's
I mean-
an AI.
Of
It's-
all the
it's a-
crazy stuff we've seen, I feel like that's
That is the
least.
craziest.
Like
Giant lady?
like Joy having what essentially seemed like pretty realistic feelings was.
They're gonna say feet.
Why would I say feet? I don't even remember seeing her feet.
There-
throughout the
oh,
whole
okay. There
movie.
was like the giant stone feet.
when
Yeah, but that wasn't Joy.
I don't know.
That was Vegas.
when she went into the stripper, she probably had feet.
I think she just
Oh my
had
god,
feet.
she probably had feet, but I don't think this isn't
When
Quentin
he went-
Tarantino.
It's Schrodinger's feet. We didn't see them, so we don't
Yeah,
know.
No,
they
no, but
exist.
Kay wouldn't be able to touch them until she turned into the stripper.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also, if Quentin Tarantino had made this movie, we absolutely would have seen Robot GF feet. And
What could have
If
happened?
only.
But yeah, I did notice kind of at the beginning of the movie, I don't know if this was actually intentional, but the actress who played Joy, her voice sounded like slightly artificial. Just like
That's rude.
I mean,
just like I think it was a mix between like her I don't know, her accent and the cuts that they made in her dialogue. It made it sound slightly artificial.
Yeah,
so
definitely the accent.
I didn't realize at first that it was Felicity Jones who was Jyn Erso. Like, I didn't realize that when I first
I
watched
did not
this.
realize that
Me
until
neither.
you said it just now.
I actually had no idea.
I thought it was familiar.
you know, she's more robotic in Rogue One than she is in this movie.
But she's
You
British,
fucking
though.
killed her, dude.
Oh wait, no, it's
Yikes.
Anna. No, shit. I'm sorry. It's Anna de Armas from Knives
Okay,
Out, not
okay.
Felicity.
Okay,
That
so
makes a
you
lot
were
more
wrong.
sense.
I was wrong.
That's why it doesn't make any sense.
That's
that-
why I didn't realize it
Okay.
until just now.
But
I
in
didn't
the-
unrealize it
in the
until just now.
poster, in the poster, yes, you can see she looks like
Okay.
Jyn Erso.
No, she
like,
doesn't. Not at all.
Looking at it from far away,
Like-
a little bit.
And first,
I mean,
for reference, we're looking at the
not-
Blade
They
are
Runner
both
2049.
Not
Gross.
horrible. It's
With hair.
I wouldn't
Nah.
I wouldn't immediately think, oh, that's definitely Felicity Jones.
She looks more like Felicity Jones than I guess Ryan Gosling does, but she doesn't look like
More than Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I'm taking that as support.
Also, I think Ryan Gosling is incredible at delivering dry humor. It's one thing I noticed in this movie. He does it in La La Land as well. Like the line where he's in like the archives in Wallace, and the guy's talking about his baby pictures that got lost in the blackout, and he's like, "Wow, you must have been adorable." That line was absolutely
I
hilarious.
think he was great in The Nice
I-
Guys. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's a great
I
example
think that's
too.
his best comedic role.
Yeah,
I feel like-
he's really funny.
I feel like they casted him on this based off of Drive because in that he's just like very robotic but purposefully so.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he could play like a slightly psychopathic android, you know? Like he could totally be a robot. But
Yeah.
he does it well. He's a good robot.
Yeah, he's definitely had some of the best acting roles I've seen recently.
Didn't they kept calling him Good Boy?
Yeah, because
Did they?
Yeah.
Madam, the police chief, definitely said that, and I think Love probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, what kind of authority does the police chief have to like find this like big conspiracy? Like, I feel like she's gotta have someone to report to that she would mention it to, but no, she's just like cover it up.
I
It
mean-
could start a war.
Yeah,
Can't
but,
have
like,
that.
why is that on the?
But I
police
wish we
chief
saw
of-
the war.
of LA. Why is
I mean,
the LA police chief the one like?
I mean, we don't know how militarized the police becomes in 2049.
Also, is there even like a larger government?
Well,
I want to say presumably, like there has to be, but I guess
Yeah.
we never really see it.
I mean, considering it's still called the LAPD, there's some continuity there. I'm assuming that there is a government, the same government, or at least a similar government that presides over it.
I guess they do start the movie with as the setting California 2049. So California's still around.
Yeah,
they
California
could have
still
seceded
exists.
though.
They-
They
That's
might
true.
not be in the
That
U.S.
makes
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying California is still around.
like also in the book, do androids dream of electric sheep? Like it was like much more apocalyptic. Like the government was gone, the majority of the world.
Is that
was
part
moved.
of like the Blade Runner universe?
Yeah, that's
It's based off of it.
Oh, okay.
So like
okay.
the
That's
city's
cheating.
still there and has like its own infrastructure, but like the outside world is essentially apocalyptic.
Okay.
And the only bits of the outside world we see aside from like the farming area is pretty much apocalyptic.
That's true.
Yeah.
So like there's a
Vegas, yeah.
chance that like there might
You know what that reminds me of? Power Rangers SPD.
No,
same premise.
hold on.
I'm not going to ask you to
Oh my
elaborate
God.
on that.
Please don't
Wait,
elaborate on that.
I do have another topic to go on here. So, so looking back at the first Blade Runner, it takes place in 2019.
Yeah.
So, like, when did it, like, did they ever cover when things went cyberpunk? Like, is that...
I mean, it's
Presumably sometime between, like, I think 82 was when
Yeah,
the original
yeah,
movie came
1982.
out, and 2019.
Okay, because I like thinking that the 80s were just, like, normal, and then, like, the 90s were normal, and then, like...
Well, I think it would make sense if the 90s were cyberpunk. They kind of wanted it, you know?
And then 2016, everything got fucked up.
Yeah, thinking about, like, normal 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then followed by absolute horrific...
Cyberpunk 2016, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think caused the cyberpunk? The Black Eyed Peas. They started a revolution.
Why?
Oh, see, actually,
Should I ask you to elaborate on that?
No.
Do I want to hear
Harrison
more?
I'm
Ford's
going to
shirt
intervene and
is
say no.
Actually, a Black Eyed Peas shirt just turned inside out because it got kind of dirty the day before.
So what I was thinking, right, which is interesting, we were talking before about the logistics of a holographic AI girlfriend, right? But what I don't understand was when she was in the, like, when she was just in his apartment, you could very clearly see where the hologram was actually coming from. Like, that made enough sense, you know? When he put her on the little, like, flash drive thing, it seemed like she could just kind of
Yeah.
appear next to him, you know? Like, I'm not sure if maybe there was always a direct line of sight, but it seemed like the flash drive would just be in, like, some random place or, like, in his pocket or something,
Yeah.
and then she would just appear.
it's the emanator. It emanates.
Yeah, I was
It's
also
like
confused
wireless
how that works.
charging. Except for
What does that mean?
It's wireless. It doesn't matter.
Wireless
It can
hologram.
charge up the
Wirelessly transmits
photons around it,
photons.
regardless of physical
I
obstruction.
mean,
That's gotta
photons.
be really good for espionage.
I don't know science.
Kevin, why did you bring the Omnitrix up?
He wanted it. So
I'm just
anyway,
wondering.
Okay, so Ben 10.
No.
No, we're not talking
Never
about
go
that.
cyberpunk.
no, don't ask.
No,
don't
we're not-
encourage
Okay,
him.
well, I wouldn't say cyberpunk, but there is Mad Ben. So there's like this.
That's not cyberpunk at all.
It's
Okay,
more
go
Mad
away,
Max.
Go away.
Never mind.
So what did you guys think about the like the Japanese influence on this? Like just
It reminded me of Big
interesting.
Hero 6.
I thought it
I was
was
curious.
Like San Francisco.
Yeah, I was.
we talked about.
I was curious as to how it might have happened that way, but it was very heavily.
Well,
lots
it's
of.
it's because Sony took over everything, you know? They're the big evil corporation. So Japan/Sony took over LA. And then everything else was nuked, apparently.
like
They-
there always
they
has
fought
been
back.
like a pretty strong like Asian like influence on the West Coast area. So like I think in
Yeah,
like a
for good reason.
cyberpunk universe with like more sort of like international movement, it makes sense that like this in like. It
Do you
goes
think
that way more.
Deckard watches anime though?
What do you think he does with all his time?
Well,
Drink.
okay. Let's assume this
And watching
timeline
Glitchy
was
Elvis.
divergent
And eat
as
cheese.
of 1982.
No, he doesn't eat cheese.
That's
So,
right.
like, I assume anime developed in a completely different way in the Blade Runner universe.
I think
They
it's
still
way
have
more
They
prominent.
probably
They're-
still have Dragon Ball Z at least. Because that was around the same time, right?
I don't know.
I don't know when Dragon Ball Z.
I don't know.
We are
anything
not
about it.
we are not authorities on anime.
Everything after 82 is up to change, basically.
So how livable was nuked Las Vegas?
Pretty livable. I mean,
It
Harrison
was
Ford
yellow
lived there.
though.
It was orange.
Whatever.
wasn't like
It
Deckard the
also-
only guy living there though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
Wait, there was a
probably
bunch of other
because
people
there
there.
was no
Right?
society.
There was like he
And,
got rescued by all those like refugee people.
No, those were the same group of rogue replicants that were like helped Deckard hide the kids. They came to rescue him because they.
Oh,
were
they
tracking
weren't
him.
around there.
Remember when
No.
the prostitute came and she put the tracker in his?
Yeah, but I thought they
jacket?
were still like in the area. They just wanted.
No,
to
they were-
no, they were in LA still,
Yeah, so
and
when
they
they
found.
came.
How do you get around? Like how'd they get there so fast?
They have
They-
ships.
Yeah, they could have the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that at least one of them has a car.
Although, as far as how livable LA is. I also think like they mention how absurdly radioactive it is. I assume that if you aren't a replicant, that would suck. You just get cancer.
Well, it
That's a
did.
good explanation.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, don't replicants already have like, what is it?
Limited
Like,
lifespan.
yeah, like they live shorter, so that would kind of cancel out with the other humans.
Well,
right?
well, I mean,
Not-
he did
some
scan
do.
for the radiation, and it said it was almost
Nominal.
non-existent. Yeah.
Really
So-
nominal.
Yeah,
really?
that means small or small amount.
Also, Tim,
Nominal
I
sounds
think
big, though.
I think
It
by
does.
by
Look
it up.
2049 they have longer lifespans.
Yeah,
Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
sure if nominal meant
right,
large,
because it's
so I
like
just looked
newer
it up.
models and stuff. Yeah.
Existing
Yeah.
in name.
Well,
A very
because
small-
the old
okay,
ones
wow.
were like they went
Yeah.
insane
What the
after a
fuck?
couple years, but
Oh,
the new
okay,
ones
okay.
didn't. So
Yeah, that
so
clears
yeah,
that
the
up.
4-year lifespan wasn't just like from them breaking.
Yeah,
It
okay.
was literally programmed in because they're like, we don't want these
Yeah.
guys to.
They're
It's like
too
the
cool.
light bulbs that break after a year.
yeah.
Tyrell said he was like a candle that burned twice as bright. And then he got his head crushed. Because that candle was pissed off.
So
Yeah, that did happen.
I'm really curious as to what like Off-World is like. Like how many planets?
Nice.
Yeah, that's where the rich people
Oh
live.
yeah, they have 9 planets. So
Nine.
like
Everywhere
They
else
said
but
9
Earth.
worlds.
9 worlds. Like I'm assuming.
It's
Actually, he
Outside
said
of-
9 new worlds, didn't he?
Did they make new
well,
planets?
new worlds as opposed to Earth. I
They
thought.
could
Yeah,
have
but
gone
they
to
had
like
planets in like
a moon of Jupiter or
2019.
something.
How many
And the
did-
walls
Actually,
were
it's not like they would be able.
Well,
to
I'm
go
assuming
to
they're all in the
gas
solar
giants.
system still,
Yeah.
because there are
Really?
plenty of dwarf planets in the Kuiper Belt.
Yeah, I guess, but
Plus, we could go on moons.
Yeah,
I don't know, like the way I
Yeah.
think they
There's
can go
tons of
out of the solar system.
I was thinking there might be a
I-
few out of solar
I
system.
don't know,
also.
that's-
I don't know if,
Solely based
Pretty-
off of Roy's speech from the end of the first Blade Runner, where he's like off the shoulder of Orion in the Tannhauser Gate. Like, I don't know what those things are, but they don't sound like they're in our solar system.
those sound pretty metaphorical though, because people use Orion as a metaphor. I don't know.
That's true, but the Tannhauser Gate sounds more like a place.
I'm gonna look up what that is. Tannhauser Gate.
So do you guys think that Kay died at the end?
yeah, I think so.
When I first
No, it was
watched
just
this
like
movie,
the end
that
of
was
Kung
the
Fu
first
Panda
question
1,
I
alright?
had.
Where Shifu was just like, he's pretending to be dead, and he's like, no, he's just resting, alright?
No, he did die.
Didn't he get
Yeah,
shot?
I was gonna say the screenwriter confirmed that he's
Yeah,
dead.
he's dead.
He got shot though, right?
He did.
That didn't
Yeah,
stop anything.
He got
The guy
shot
won
and
just, like,
stabbed.
Yeah.
There are a lot of movie characters who get shot and then just like walk it off.
Yeah.
He did for a while.
Yeah, he lasted a
He
while,
drove a
honestly.
car.
I don't think he died, but like
he did.
it is-
He did, canonically.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
end.
Well, the screenwriter said he did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh. Okay, well, never mind.
I
It's
just
not in the
wanted to
movie,
know,
it's
why do you
not
think he
canon.
didn't?
Well, I just thought it would be stupid if he did. I'm going to be honest.
Well, I
Like,
thought
it
I
was
thought
a
it was a
weird
pretty good callback to
time.
saying it's worth dying for something you believe in or something like. I thought that was a decent callback.
that's
to
true,
that.
but like he drove Harrison Ford to meet his daughter. He couldn't like stop at a hospital.
Well, I mean, he was.
Do
they were
have
going to
replicant
execute him.
hospitals?
He was gonna kill himself
Yeah, but like
earlier,
I
wasn't
feel
he?
like the entire like rogue like cabal of replicants like they didn't have any like medical people that could at least try to help him. Like he made no effort.
No,
to
he was gonna kill himself earlier in the movie. He had that gun, he looked at it, and he was just like, and then he had a flashback of like dying for a good cause, and he was like, oh, okay.
I don't think that was
He-
him going to kill himself. I think
Well,
he
then
just-
the
I
giant
think it was
robot lady was
implied.
like, hey, you're lonely and whatever,
Yeah.
and he just pulled out the gun.
He also might have. So he wanted to basically pretend that Deckard was dead. So he might have been like, if he lives, then they're just gonna question him about that. And, like he might not be able to keep up the lie.
That's
Whereas
true.
if he dies, they're gonna have no idea
couldn't
what
he
happened
just
to Harrison
like
Ford.
run off with Harrison Ford? Like
Yeah, but then there's a
Where's
chance.
is he gonna go? I don't
Doesn't he
know.
have a
where was
tracker
Harrison
inside him?
Ford
How'd
and
they
his
find
daughter
him?
gonna go?
How'd they find him in the first
Good
place?
point.
He must
Harrison
have a
Ford's gonna
tracker
live in the
right?
bubble with her, and she's just gonna make him disappear with her dream machine.
No, Kay or Joe or whatever. He had a tracker on him where they could track him, right?
Oh,
That's how
oh,
he
yeah,
knew where he
on
was in Las
his
Vegas.
bag.
Yeah.
So he had to die no matter what.
Did he? Well, it wasn't on him. It was in his bag.
Well, I think he's talking
Well,
about
no,
the
the police
LAPD
tracked
were
that.
able to track
Oh,
him.
oh yeah.
Like, why didn't he think about that? I feel like he, out of everyone, should have known.
They might have.
He's
He
dumb.
probably just
Yeah.
didn't think that.
He
the
probably
police chief
just
would look for him.
figured there would be like what's he gonna do? You
Also,
know?
like, the
He
chief
can't send
didn't
somebody
have to
else.
die at all. She was, like, such a meaningless death. Because it was, like, 5 minutes of, like, defiance, like, you'll never find him, and it's, like, dead. And then she just, like, clicked the computer to get off the screensaver, and it's like, oh, there he is. It was so meaningless.
I don't.
Well, you know,
Well, I don't-
it had a lot more meaning when it was like a slower paced death. You know, when you really got to see the life leave her eyes.
Yeah, I think about half as fast or twice as fast. It probably wouldn't have had any meaning, but the way it was is pretty good. And I don't think it was
fast
really.
deaths. All right, like earlier in the movie, there was that they were going through the bodies or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, you can't take those papers or whatever."
Oh yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, okay, let me put it
Yeah,
down."
I'm
And then she
interested-
karate chopped him in the back of the neck, and his blood flew out of his face,
And
and
his
he died.
eyes turned into blood.
Yeah, what
I
happened?
think she just snapped his spine.
It looks like she crushed part of his head.
Yeah.
She just gave him a
Super
smack.
Well,
on the
it
head.
was with a fist too, so it
Was
wasn't.
it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh.
I also think that the death of the police chief wasn't really like to get the stuff that was in the computer. It was more just to kill her, because to show that she's how ruthless she's going to
No,
be.
it was. She was like, "Hey, tell me or I'm gonna kill you," and then she's just like, "It's worth it."
Yeah, and then she was like, "All right, screw you. I'm gonna kill you and get it anyway."
Well, she could have just given it and lived, and then nothing
Yeah,
would have
but
changed.
th-
Nothing
but
would have
then-
changed.
But then, like, you can't even stand up for your values, you know?
Yeah.
Like, props
Yeah,
to the police chief for doing that at least.
Yeah, she's
Like,
I
maybe
think
she-
that's like showing kind of a lack of replicant racism that doesn't exist in most people, because she like
She was kind of racist.
I know I'm saying slightly less so than most people.
Okay.
Because
I was-
how many people in that universe do you think would have died trying to protect a replicant?
I don't think it was really about the replicant. I think it was more she just didn't want them to get close to the secret.
Yeah, I
If
guess
they
that's
capture
fair.
Kay, they can interrogate him.
And another thing, she could have done so many other things on the computer other than just turn off the monitor.
Yeah, like play Minecraft.
Like put on like Minesweeper or something.
Cyber.
Maximize the window. Make her at least do one more click before she's like, "Let me kill Harrison Ford." it was just like that. All right.
I was one thing I really liked about this movie was the main character not only being a replicant, but we know he's a replicant and he knows he's a replicant.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he's a replicant. It like I feel like that made it a lot more interesting because instead of just like the perspective we see in the original Blade Runner is basically just from somebody hunting replicants, but here it's like we kind of get to see not really normal life of a replicant, but the life of a replicant and how he's like discriminated against and people hate him in ways that aren't murdering him. And also are murdering him, but you know.
Yeah.
I did think the first one did a decent job of showing the dual perspectives of both Deckard and Roy throughout that movie. Like, you got a lot from Roy's perspective, like, almost as much as Deckard.
You got a lot from Roy's perspective of he is a literal slave who is being hunted, but Kay's perspective I thought was a lot more interesting as I'm working with humans and I'm like, I have an apartment and shit, and like people at least give me some ounce of respect, but everybody just kind of hates me because of who I am.
Yeah, it was more of a like commentary on society. Not to be the Joker, but more of a commentary on society than people hunting robot slaves, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't really happen anymore.
Anymore? Did we used to hunt robot slaves?
Remember back in the Robot Wars when the Romans, like, that's how the Romans fell there. Robot slaves from up north kind of got really
What
close
happened to the
being
robot
invaded.
slaves after Rome?
That
Ryan
Europeans-
Gosling hunted him down.
Yeah.
I thought it was Harrison Ford.
Both
They
of them.
teamed up. It was time travel. It got kind of weird.
That's the next movie. It's going to be a buddy cop spin-off movie of young Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling hunting Romans.
People wonder why Caligula was insane. He just saw too much shit in his time.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Too much shit outside of his time.
Speaking of seeing, anyone notice the focus on eyes
Yeah, I
specifically
did.
in
Yeah.
specifically in the
Like,
first
the
one? I
opening
feel
shot.
like, but
Yeah.
but
Both
also in
movies, so
Yeah,
much
de-
shot.
yeah.
At least in the second.
Yeah, like the
one, I
opening
saw
shot
some-
of this movie was just
Eyes.
a pair of
Both
eyes.
movies had opening shots
Yeah.
of eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
And
look
then there was the eye guy who was Poe's dad in Kung Fu Panda in the first one. And then everyone takes, like,
The same
Kay
actor.
took Dave Bautista's eye. And eyes.
And
Look
Jared
up
Leto's
and-
blind.
Yeah.
I know when
and
Tyrell
to the
was killed, he like squeezed his eyes.
Yeah.
And there was also like
That was fun.
green eyes on the failed clone. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
her eyes were green and they made them brown on the
Yeah.
Rachel clone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really like eyes in this
It
universe.
was surprising how chill Harrison Ford was just seeing that clone die.
I think he was pretty. He like.
Yeah, he was very clearly distraught.
Yeah.
Okay, no, listen.
Maybe he didn't
First-
say it
not
at
about-
such speed.
At first, he was like, "Oh shit, this is like," and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of fucked up." And then he looks up and he's like, "No green eyes," and he walked away. He like flinched at the gunshot, but I mean,
was more than a-
Well,
the gun
no,
was
he
pretty
was
close.
he was just trying not to show Lawless that he was getting to him.
Yeah.
More than anything. It wasn't that he wasn't affected. It was
He
more
was-
that he was putting up a front, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was very well acted there. Like I
Yeah.
could tell about I could tell his internal struggle from his facial.
Yeah, that was one of the
expression.
moments
Yeah,
that made
especially
me
at
really
normal
happy
speed.
with. That was one of the moments that made me really happy with Harrison Ford's performance in this movie. I wish they had the money to give him more screen time.
I wish I had the money to give him more money.
No, the clothes are fine. I believe that Harrison Ford in the future, in an alternate universe, would wear a gray T-shirt.
I'm gonna be honest. I wish they gave him less clothes. He is a sex icon.
It's true.
How much better do you think the movie would have been if he was just wearing his Indiana Jones outfit?
It would have
Not
made absolutely
better.
no sense.
If Shia LaBeouf showed up partway through, it would
If
have been. a
Shia
very-
LaBeouf shows up as his son in a different movie.
Yeah, like I'm your son. He's like, who the fuck are you? Like, I'm Marion's kid. Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf is the guy who creates the memories in the dome.
This disguises your daughter was just a ploy, so you wouldn't realize it's me.
It's like
Shia
one of those masks from like Silver Age comics. He like rips off a rubber mask of a woman to show that he's actually Shia LaBeouf.
That's terrifying.
And when-
I'm gonna have nightmares about that now.
And when Kay is like screaming because he thinks that he's actually
Shia LaBeouf.
yes, when he thinks he's actually Shia LaBeouf starts yelling at him as well. I think that would really be a powerful moment.
So, anything else to just wrap it up here? I feel like we've pretty much gotten everything out.
I like cyberpunk.
There's that one scene where like that one girl like stabbed someone else with their. Was it the guy or the girl? Like he.
Are you talking about love? What are you talking about?
There was like this lady, and they like put her hand through her chest, and she started like bleeding out, like fell on the ground.
Oh, that was like a
Oh,
test
yeah.
model for like a replicant.
Oh,
but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a messed up scene.
This was pretty much my first exposure to cyberpunk, and I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. It's like I'm not surprised at how like really depressing it all is, but I don't know. For some reason, I just wasn't expecting it. I don't know why it caught me
I
off
think
guard.
that's one of the things that I've been enjoying in movies lately. I don't know why. I just
Being
really like the
depressed.
eerie, depressing aesthetic. And so this movie really, it made me happy, I guess, because of how good it was.
It made
yeah.
me sad. I was like, man, this future kind of sucks, and I feel bad
Yeah.
for everybody involved. But it was good.
It could be ours,
Well, it can't be because it happened in 2019.
not this one.
Where it's not just gonna suddenly become Blade Runner 2049
Well, go
without
outside.
first being Blade Runner.
We all go outside Kevin's house, and we're like, it's like just a cyberpunk city. We're like,
I do think the first Blade Runner did like I thought it like kind of got the cityscape of cyberpunk a bit better. Like there were a lot more street shots.
I don't know. I really liked. I think one of my favorite like world moments was when he went to have the wooden horse scanned to see if it was wood.
That was neat.
That was
I liked
really
that.
cool. I loved that character who
Yeah.
was just like,
yeah, it feels like a
like,
rustic,
oh, I can get you
tiny
this, and
little
he had like
place.
the weird drugs.
Yeah.
some dude
I
making
think
living on the street.
Yeah.
But I feel like the first Blade Runner had like a lot more stuff like that. Like there's a lot more of him going to vendors. Like he went into bars and stuff. Like he was investigating on the street, and it was really
Yeah.
cool to see. And
Yeah, it's,
That was
they have
24
different focuses for the movies. I
What
guess.
happened to wood? What happened to the trees?
they all died. Everything's
Yeah.
synthetic.
Yeah, the
The
only
feed
like,
Is this after the Lorax?
only living-
Okay, first the Lorax, then is Blade Runner, and then is the next Blade Runner. And that's
when,
the
when,
next
does
one.
when does O'Hare fit in? It's O'Hare, Tyrell, and then Wallace.
Yeah.
I can't believe O'Hare got usurped by fucking Jared Leto.
Well, first you got usurped by Tyrell.
Yeah, it wasn't a direct usurping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
It's a
Jared
grand
Leto. Jared Leto is a good replacement for O'Hare.
It's fit.
They look similar.
So anyway, I feel like that about wraps up as far as Blade Runner 2049 goes. Now, everybody was supposed to come in thinking of one suggestion for next week. We'll choose among those. And of course, we're not going to do another movie, so it has to not be a movie. I am suggesting Watchmen, the graphic novel,
Ooh.
because I love it.
That's a good one.
It's pretty good.
Pokemon Origins, the 4 episodes.
Okay.
I am suggesting Foundation by Isaac Asimov.
What is that?
It's
Probably a
a
book.
sci-fi book.
Okay.
Really good sci-fi book. It's
How long?
fairly short,
Okay.
too.
I suggest Over the Garden Wall.
Okay.
Ooh, but it's not Halloween.
That's
Yeah.
okay. I'm always up for Over the Garden.
Oh,
Wall.
yeah,
It
I
is
guess
really
we could save it
good.
for
Yeah.
Halloween special, but there's a lot of things we can do for Halloween special.
Oh, man,
We
do
can
holiday
we can do multiple Halloween specials.
That's true.
One
Even
every
month.
week.
Who says Halloween has to be on October 31st?
Honestly,
All right, my suggestion is Samurai Jack season 5.
Okay.
Now it's
How
not
long
a
is
movie.
that?
That's a good
It's
one.
10 episodes.
And my suggestion is Hotline Miami, the game.
oh man, this is
How much
such a
more-
diverse.
These are all pretty good
Yeah.
suggestions, and they're all so different.
I think
What are the voting rules here? Just like vote if you're okay, and can we vote for our own thing?
Sure, I
Everybody hates
was thinking we would just discuss it, but yeah, I guess we have enough that we should just vote if you would like to do it, regardless, and then
Yeah.
we will
How much money is Hotline
not.
Miami?
$10.
$10.
When it goes on sale, it's like 2.5.
Yeah, but it probably won't be on sale within the next week.
Someone look it up.
It's $10.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly cheap game.
Yeah, the
It's
sequel,
not-
the
it's
sequel
not
has
absurd.
come out relatively recently, so the original
That
probably
doesn't
got
stop
marked
something.
down.
Like Call of Duty games are like still like $40, even though they're like 20 years old.
Plus, of course,
Yeah,
we're not
but-
sure exactly who's going to be on next week.
That's true.
So if you don't want to, that's fine.
How about Deus Ex?
Which
Day of
one?
Sex.
Isn't that a like long game?
I mean, it's not like we have to play all of it. We didn't
Yeah, I
play
can't-
all
you
of
didn't
Lucky
even-
with Demon
$10.
You didn't play any of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so how about we go back around to what we just said, and we will put our hands up if we, or we'll say aye if we would like to do it.
I and hand, so we can visualize it for our
Yeah.
sake.
Okay. So I suggested Watchmen, the graphic novel.
Are we saying who's okay with it?
Yeah, who's okay with it?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so 3 people. Kevin, you suggested Pokemon,
Origins, the 4 episodes.
Aye.
Aye.
You can't vote for yourself.
Why not?
We just said you can't vote
Yeah,
for
but
yourself.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Whatever, fine.
Alright. Then I suggested Foundation.
Yeah, aye.
Oh.
All right, another 3. Okay, well,
I suggested Over the Garden Wall.
Aye.
just one, just Tim. Okay.
I suggested Samurai Jack season 5.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh boy.
All right.
I haven't watched any of the other seasons.
It's
to
not
be
like
me
a
honest.
neither.
serialized show or anything. You don't need a lot of context going into
Yeah,
season
I've heard
5.
it's
Watch
pretty
the
Okay,
first
standard.
okay.
episode and then watch season 5.
Honestly, yes. That's like really helpful.
Okay, so first episode in season 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree to that. Okay, Nick. Just
Hotline Miami.
Aye.
Aye.
3 people. Okay, so
it's
Samurai
like
Jack it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we will be watching Samurai Jack season 5
Plus
for next
episode
week.
That's a total
Yes,
of 11
plus
episodes,
episode one.
so I don't think it's too bad.
Not absurd.
Are they
not
just like
absurd.
22-minute episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I'm just excited to consume more media.
I like consuming
I ate
Daniel-
so
Daniel,
much
you-
Chinese
if
food
we
today.
anything from Cyberpunk as a genre. It's consuming is good at all times.
All right, I'm
You
out.
know, I would really love a refreshing glass of Coca-Cola right now after watching that movie.
Man, I'd
gonna
love
be
to drink
warm.
some Coca-Cola, watch a movie on my Sony TV, and then play some Atari video games.
I love that.
and then bone my robot girlfriend.
Holographic.
If only.